What if Anakin told Yoda about Darth Plagueis? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. As the opera comes to an end, Anakin stares at Palpatine, who casually claps his hands and smiles at him. The Chancellor looks as though nothing is wrong, as if he has not just dropped a bombshell. But efforts to gauge his reaction are in vain, as the Chancellor suddenly announces that he is tired. He prepares to depart as his speeder is brought up to the front, and Palpatine steps aboard. But before he disappears, he glances back at Anakin and smiles.
Remember what I spoke of, my boy. If you truly want power, then you must consider other sources, even though the Jedi might not approve of it.
And Anakin does think about it. He thinks long and hard as he makes his way back to his quarters. These ideas are bold, and a part of him is tempted to believe in them, but at the same time, Anakin is also frightened. What Palpatine suggests is drastic, so drastic it goes against everything the Jedi teach. He cannot simply dismiss something like that, especially when he doesn't even know much about Darth Plagueis. The story that Palpatine gave certainly is compelling, but it is just that, a story. One that he is not even certain is true. No, he must consult other sources before making his decision. And the next day, Anakin returns to the Jedi Temple to talk to Master Yoda about this Sith Lord.
Master Yoda, what do you know of the Sith, Darth Plagueis?
Plagueis, you say? A strange name, that is, but unfamiliar to me. Where did you learn of it, young one?
The Chancellor. He appears to be a being of immense power, someone whose name we cannot ignore.
Agreed. Troubling it is that the Chancellor knows about this being. But learn more about this Plagueis, the key is.
Anakin nods his head eagerly. While he certainly agrees, part of him also wishes to learn more to see how he managed to prevent others from dying. And more importantly, it might get him away from having to spy on Palpatine. Unfortunately, he isn't pulled from that mission right away, as the Chancellor is their only lead to learning about Plagueis. So he must get whatever information he can from the Chancellor. For the next few days, Anakin continues as if everything were normal, but then starts to hint at an interest in the dark side. He slowly begins to inquire about this Darth Plagueis. He asks when he existed, how he learned all of these powers, and how he managed to get overthrown. Palpatine answers all of this with a smile, keeping his answers vague and preventing him from getting all the information he needs. The Chancellor instead sees how invested the young Jedi is, and will not divulge that information so easily. So instead, Anakin must find another way. What is clear is that Palpatine has a deep knowledge of the subject. He must get it out somehow. He decides to try looking through his documents. After they finish another day of attending meetings for helping Palpatine as his assistant, Anakin announces that he will be staying a bit longer to rest after a long day. The Chancellor smiles and leaves him be. But once he's gone, the Jedi immediately begin searching through Palpatine's computer. The device is heavily protected as expected, but Anakin has spent years of hacking and breaking into computers. It takes time, but he slowly breaks through the firewalls and accesses the files he shouldn't. He goes beyond the usual Senate documentation and military plans, and instead turns to Palpatine's documents. He sees his journal and searches for any mention of Plagueis. At first, nothing seems to come out, but he soon sees something. Logs commenting on the experiments of his master. He calls them brilliant, but risky, and he is starting to conduct tests on Brendok. Before he can look further into it, he senses movement and quickly shuts off the computer and wipes all traces of his presence. It isn't much, but he at least has a location. Brendok. He turns to see Palpatine walking back to his office.
Anakin, you're still here.
Apologies, Chancellor. I was just leaving.
He waves him off and watches Anakin disappear before a silent alarm is triggered on his computer. The Jedi shuttle descends through the swirling mists of Brendok, a world cloaked in shadow and legend. Its dense forests stretch endlessly beneath a gray sky, and the hum of the ship fades as it lands near the base of an ancient crumbling ridge. Atop it looms the remnants of the Witch's Temple, forgotten, overgrown, and cracked with age. Anakin stands at the shuttle's ramp, his eyes scanning the tree line. The air feels heavy, wrong.
This is the place. I can feel it. The Force. It's not just strong here. It's chaotic.
Yoda steps beside him, cane in hand, his usual serenity dimmed by the storm of dark energy surrounding them.
Twisted, this place has become. Echoes of pain, of power, of vengeance, perhaps. Yes, but this place seems... Best be careful, we should.
Together they ascend the steps into the shattered temple. Inside, roots crack through the stone floors. Strange sigils glow faintly along the walls, and as they move deeper, the temperature drops. Shadows crawl unnaturally across the ground. They both sense the pain and chaos in the air, as the temple was the site of a chaotic struggle years ago. Yoda's frown deepens as he makes his way deeper. He recalls a vague memory of this place, a mission here that took place a century and a half ago. Suddenly, the air trembles. A dozen ghostly forms erupt from the stone, the spirits of the coven of witches long dead, preserved in rage and magic. Their wails pierce the silence, and they rush the Jedi.
You face us with the power of one, but we have the power of many.
Anakin ignites his saber. Yoda leaps to intercept as the witches rush at him with ghostly weapons in hand. The small Jedi moves, spinning in tight arcs of green light, scattering the nearest witches while Anakin rushes forward and secures their flank. He cuts through the first witches, then uses the Force to shatter their ghostly forms. But the witches don't fall like ordinary foes. They vanish and reappear, clawing with talon-like fingers, dragging pain through the Force itself.
Some of these creatures are bound by memory, by hatred.
The two stand back to back as these creatures advance upon them. The onslaught grows. Anakin stumbles, pain and confusion bubbling into something darker as he tries to fight. But each time his weapon strikes, it only seems to hit the air, while their attacks grow in strength and feels all too real. His frustration builds, his fear for what he will find, and his frustration of what might be found here. And all of that is being blocked by these witches. With a roar, Anakin unleashes a torrent of Force energy. Raw, kinetic bursts. The temple cracks. The specters scream. Most are destroyed in an instant, banished into silence. Only one remains. A dark, ethereal woman, cloaked in midnight robes. Her form stabilizes as she floats towards Anakin. She tries to retreat, but Anakin grabs her with the Force and pulls her close.
Calm yourself, Skywalker.
Who are you? Who summoned you?
We are defending our temple. You are the ones invading our homes, and we shall defend them.
Don't toy with me. Someone summoned you.
Skywalker, enough. Long gone your home is. A ruin, this is. Summoned you were, spirit, by him.
The witch's form flickers for a moment as she tries to recall, but she can't seem to think of anything.
I sense it as well. A dark tether pulling us from beyond, and a darkness within you, young one. You carry the virgins in you, like my daughters once did.
Anakin's saber remains lit, but his anger dims. He approaches slowly.
What virgins? What did you create here? What did Plagueis want with this world?
This world was a wound in the Force, a place where life could be twisted, where the natural laws could bend. My daughters were born of it, gifts of the Force.
Remember, I do. Rumors of this place. Jedi once searched for the virgins here, but found you, they did.
Indeed. They took my daughters from here, and...
Anastasia screams as her form begins to fade.
You must stop him. The Virgins is not yet closed. The power still calls to those who would abuse it.
But as the witch fades, the two glance at each other. The dark presence diminishes, but does not dissipate. Instead, it lingers, and the two begin searching the ruins. As dust settles, he notices a series of circular carvings beneath the altar's base. A Sith labyrinth seal. The two reach out to the Force and channel it into the seal. It lights up, and the door begins to open.
There's something beneath us. The ghosts weren't guarding the temple. They were guarding this.
Yoda steps beside him, placing a hand to the stone. His brow furrows in concentration. The Force pulses below, cold and ancient. They keep their lightsabers ready as they descend the temple. The corridor opens into a vast, underground facility. Black durasteel walls laced with archaic Sith symbols. Broken vats line the walls. Cracked cloning tanks filled with decayed remains. The air reeks of rot and chemicals. Anakin moves slowly, absorbing every detail. Then he freezes. In the center chamber, bathed in a soft red glow, a suspended stasis pod floats above a ritual circle. Inside is a woman, young, her body still. May.
She's alive. Or she was. What is this?
Trapped between life and death, she is.
Anakin approaches the nearby terminal and activates it. A flicker. Then, a holographic image of Darth Plagueis appears. Tall, distorted, his face gaunt and shadowed by his breathing apparatus.
Subject 7 exhibits a rare trait. High midichlorian concentration with no prior memory or spiritual identity. The ideal canvas. I theorize consciousness can be etched into a vessel if the Force itself is unraveled.
The screen shifts graphs, bloodwork, and chilling footage of May writhing under dark energy. Plagueis attempts to transfer the essence of one being into another.
Dark science. What should not be done was.
Anakin stares, entranced. Like Yoda, he is horrified by what he sees. Disgust builds within him as he sees the girl being treated like this. But part of him is actually intrigued. He recalls his conversations with Palpatine and how this one experiment may allow him to save lives. He must admit, he is also rather fascinated. A small part recalls that this woman is a witch, one who has caused chaos in the past, and suggests that she might have deserved it.
He was trying to move the Force itself. Not just life. Identity. Let's see what this leads to.
He taps onto one of the holotanks and is surprised to see it still working despite the years. But as it plays the history of these experiments, some of that excitement seems to drain from Anakin. He watches May being drained of blood almost every day, which in turn is used to fuel Plagueis' experiments. He watches as they try countless times to transfer the blood into other subjects, to transfer her Force sensitivity. But each time they attempt it, her midichlorians die out and leave the new subject unable to harness the Force.
Down this path, obsession lies. Seduction. The same that consumed him.
Anakin continues flipping through the data. He finds another file. The Brendok Virgins, Seed of Creation.
The Virgence on this world offers raw Force potential. I believe I can replicate it, imprint consciousness within the midichlorians themselves. If successful, death will be obsolete.
This is how he planned to conquer death. He wasn't lying. None of it was a lie.
The truth of the Sith this may be, but a gift it is not. A poison it becomes. Remember you must what power costs. Immortality this provides, but a life like this you do not want, Skywalker.
Those words give Anakin pause. They weren't for him. It was for Padme, whose life he's still worried about. But they still have their effect. He knows that Padme wouldn't want this for herself, and he's starting to think he doesn't want this power either. Suddenly, a flicker in the shadows. One of the remaining stasis tanks lights up. A heartbeat monitor begins to beep. A shadow floats inside. Another clone submerged. Anakin's eyes lock on it. A face. It looks like May, but he sees other individuals too. A young man as well. He takes a step forward.
Enough. Leave we must. The deeper you look, the more it takes.
Plagueis. We have his face. Maybe we can run it through the archives.
His fists clench. The air thickens, but the two Jedi leave without another word. After a long silence, Anakin turns off the terminal. He looks back at May's pod, her form drifting in stillness. But as they leave, the clones open their eyes as an unseen figure begins activating the controls. Back on Coruscant, the two Jedi work using police records and databanks to try and track the face of Plagueis for any matches. It is difficult work, but they manage to find a match. A banker by the name of Hego Damask, who died shortly after the Naboo crisis. In his youth, he was a skilled banker who amassed a large fortune for himself, but his star had long faded by the time of the Trade Federation's invasion of Naboo. He died shortly afterwards from seemingly alcohol poisoning while attending a party hosted by Palpatine. That seems to get their attention, and both look deeper, and they see a connection between the two. Apparently, he had served as Palpatine's financial advisor for some time, and the two corresponded and became quite wealthy. Though Hego seemed to have largely retired from the banking clan at this time, he still made several private trades. These were made with perfect timing, as throughout the growing crisis in the galaxy, he managed to amass a fortune for himself and his remaining clients. Looking back with hindsight, it is clear that they were both orchestrating things behind the scenes and making money off it.
This has to be insider trading. They knew what they were getting into. They planned ahead of time and built their fortune up in preparation for the crisis.
Perhaps explain Palpatine's power, it would. Move systems, credits can, but no proof of the Sith, it is. Need more information, we do.
Then let's look where Mr. Damask put his wealth.
They continue digging through the files and see that he placed that wealth not in his bank account, but in the high-tech laboratories far in the Outer Rim and away from prying eyes. Anakin and Yoda step into the abandoned asteroid laboratory hidden deep within the Outer Rim. The entrance revealed by the Sith schematics recovered from the ruins. The temperature drops, even Yoda's breath clouds. Here, everything is pristine and untouched by time, preserved in darkness. Dark holocrons hover in stasis fields. Massive stasis tanks line the walls, filled with partially formed humanoid shapes suspended in sickly fluid. The machines hum with a low, living resonance.
Alive, this place feels. But wrong. Terribly wrong.
This was the real lab, the one he protected even from his ghosts, where he finished his research.
They reach the center, a high circular platform. Suspended above it in a massive obsidian ring is a Sith transfer device. Dried blood crusts the conduits beneath it. The machine is designed not to give life, but to consume it. Holo recordings flicker to life. Darth Plagueis appears, performing essence transfers. Victims scream, contorting as the machine rips their life force away, channeling it into him. In one clip, Plagueis stumbles away from the machine, temporarily rejuvenated, eyes glowing, but the subject below is a mummified corpse, shriveled beyond recognition. He notes that tests have been successful, and he hopes that it can be used to permanently extend his lifespan or allow his essence to survive, even if his physical body is destroyed.
He drained them, like fuel. Learned to defy death by stealing life.
They continue deeper, past walls of cracked masks and failed clones. Then they freeze as the doors open behind them. Out steps May and the stranger. They move like shadows, their eyes hollow, movements twitching unnaturally, flesh reanimated. Anakin ignites his saber, and Yoda does the same.
Attack me with all your strength.
What are they?
But before they can strike, a voice echoes from the darkness.
Marvels, aren't they?
The shadows part as Chancellor Palpatine enters the chamber, robes trailing across the stone like smoke.
I had hoped you would come this far, my boy. You were always meant to see this.
You knew all of it. You were his apprentice.
And now his successor. Plagueis mastered essence transfer, but he was limited, inefficient. But you, Anakin, you could perfect it.
Poison these teachings are. Offer corruption, you do.
The Jedi see corruption. I see evolution. Anakin, with your power, we could refine the process, make it cleaner. We could save those we love without pain. You've seen what the Force can do here. The virgins, the science. You can have it all.
Anakin stares at him, tempted. Visions of Padme dying flash in his mind. Then the image of May, blank-eyed, tortured, her life drained in silence.
I saw what happened to her. What you did to May was just to bring her back.
A tragic necessity. Progress is always messy. But together we could find a way to avoid such waste.
No, that wasn't progress. That was cruelty. I won't become another one of your experiments.
Very well. If I cannot mold you, I will break you.
The underground structure shudders with seismic pulses as the shades rush forward, sweeping their blades towards Anakin. His lightsaber comes up and intercepts these strikes. May's knives shatter against the weapon, and Anakin hurls the fragments towards Chimere. It strikes through his sides, but he ignores it and advances, swinging his lightsaber again. Dark energy crackles across the ceiling as Palpatine lunges, lightsaber ignited in his hand. But Yoda leaps behind Anakin and stops him. From the far side of the chamber, May steps forward, eyes wild with fury, twin blades ready.
This is the future, Anakin. The Jedi are relics. The Force belongs to those with the will to command it.
He swings his lightsaber again, aiming to strike Yoda, but the small Jedi leaps towards the attack and pushes it aside. Their weapons clash in a flurry of sparks while Anakin looks at his own opponents. They leap at him together, blades twirling and flashing in the dark. He stops Kymer's attack mid-swing, but May takes this opportunity to try and get under his defenses, knives flashing. Anakin twists his hips away, and they miss by a hair. He responds by kicking her across the chin and sending her stumbling back. Kymer uses this distraction to push forward. He nearly strikes him, but Anakin redirects the attack aside. The stranger does not fall so easily, so he pulls out his hidden blade and drives it into Anakin's side. The Jedi screams in pain, clutching his waist just as May comes at him again, one knife slashing across his cheek. The Jedi stumbles as the pair swarms him. Anakin moves like fire, his saber crashing against May's twin blades while twisting to parry Kymer's erratic, elegant strikes. Sparks dance off the floor. May's movements are savage, driven by hate, while Kymer is deliberate, calculating, always circling. Anakin is outnumbered but unshaken. Despite his injuries, he steps back and avoids their next attack until Kymer lands a kick, sending Anakin sliding back. He recovers, hurling May into a support pillar with the Force. Kymer charges again. They lock sabers, face to face.
You think you're better than us? You were born in darkness. I was born in the Force. We both were. You just chose the darkness.
Kymer growls, pulling his short blade back, but Anakin is ready. When he thrusts forward, he sidesteps and brings his own lightsaber down at his arm. The stranger gasps as his limb flops to the ground, but he doesn't feel it for long as Anakin drives it into his chest. May screams and rushes at him, hurling knives at him, but Anakin dodges each one, and as the last one flashes, he directs it back into her chest. Breathing heavily, Anakin turns towards the duel above. Yoda is tiring. The duel rages through the air, on platforms, across beams, but Palpatine is relentless. He hurls lightning between every strike, weaving in darkness between his blade work.
You're old, Master Yoda. Your time is done.
Judge me by my size, do you? Foolish, you are. Critique your appearance, I do not.
Palpatine growls, and a final burst of lightning knocks Yoda down. His saber slips away, and he collapses to one knee, panting. Palpatine raises his blade. Anakin lands in front of Yoda, blocking the death blow. He stares into Palpatine's molten eyes.
I made my choice.
Anakin's strikes are faster, more precise, carrying everything he's learned, everything he was meant to be. Palpatine hisses and unleashes a massive force lightning wave. Anakin catches it on his blade, his body screaming in pain, and he slowly skids back, but then he feels a hand supporting him. Yoda rises behind and steps beside him, his green saber reactivating. As his attack falters, Yoda lunges forward, going low and striking at his knees. The Emperor avoids these attacks, but is knocked off balance. Anakin then joins in, forcing him on the defensive as he pushes his blade against him. Palpatine tries to redirect this attack, but Yoda slices at his shin, and the Chancellor feels the blade striking his shoulder. He tries to move forward, lunging into their defenses with a desperate flurry of strikes. Anakin stops these, and Yoda throws him back with the Force. Taking a Force-assisted leap, Anakin drives his saber through Palpatine's chest. Palpatine chokes, clutching at Anakin's robes. The red in his eyes dims. He pulls the blade free. Palpatine's body collapses into ash, his essence finally scattered. With the evidence gathered from the laboratory, they can prove Palpatine's involvement with the Sith, and the Senate immediately begin rolling back emergency powers, putting it back in the hands of the people. But more importantly, Anakin and Yoda bring this to the Jedi Order, showing the full depths of the Sith plan and how close they were to being destroyed. The sight of these horrific experiments dating so long ago is a slap in the face for the Jedi Order, which pivots to begin making some much-needed reforms, an effort spearheaded by Anakin. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.